At my cousin's wedding, my uncle grabbed the microphone and told everyone I was a criminal. The music died mid-note. Conversations dissolved into whispers. Dozens of faces turned toward me at once. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. My father stared at the floor like it had opened beneath him. My uncle didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He spoke slowly, calmly, like a man delivering truth instead of poison. He said I had been living a double life. He said my success was built on fraud. He said the family name was in danger, and then he sighed into the microphone, as if he were the one carrying the burden. Some people shook their heads in disappointment. Others leaned closer, hungry for more. I felt the weight of 100 silent judgments pressing into my chest. My cousin's new wife looked confused. The elders exchanged uneasy glances. My aunt began whispering prayers under her breath. My mother started crying, and my uncle smiled. Not a wide smile, not a proud one. A small, satisfied smile, like a man watching a seed he planted finally bloom. I wanted to speak. I wanted to shout that he was lying, but the words refused to come, because deep down I knew this moment hadn't started here. It hadn't started today. This was the final act of something he had been building for years. The rumors, the anonymous accusations, the quiet questions about my money, the suspicious looks from neighbors. All of it suddenly made sense. He wasn't exposing me. He was finishing what he started. My father still couldn't look at me. My mother's shoulders shook beside him, and the silence in that hall felt heavier than any accusation. My uncle adjusted the microphone and said, "Some stains cannot be washed away." A few people nodded. That was when I realized something important. He believed he had already won. What he didn't know was that for months I had been preparing for this exact moment, and when I finally stood up from my seat, the room held its breath. Because what I was about to reveal was something my uncle never saw coming. My legs felt heavier than stone as I walked toward the front of the hall. Every step echoed, every eye followed me. I could feel the heat of judgment burning into my back. When I reached the microphone, my uncle stepped aside slowly, confident, almost amused. He folded his arms and watched, waiting. Certain that whatever I said would only make things worse, I looked at my mother. Her eyes were swollen with tears. I looked at my father. He still couldn't meet my gaze. For a moment, I was no longer a grown man with a career and responsibilities. I was a boy again, a boy trying to prove he belonged. I swallowed. Then I spoke. "I agree with my uncle," I said. A ripple moved through the hall. "Some stains cannot be washed away." My uncle's smile widened slightly. Then I continued, "But truth doesn't stain a name. Lies do." The room fell into complete silence. I reached into my jacket and removed a slim folder. Months ago, when the rumors first reached my mother, I told myself to ignore them. When the bank called about suspicious activity, I told myself it was a mistake. When neighbors began asking quiet questions, I told myself it would pass. But when anonymous complaints were filed against my finances, I stopped hoping, and I started investigating. I handed the folder to the wedding coordinator, who connected my flash drive to the large projector screen behind the stage. The screen flickered to life. A document appeared. Bank verification letters confirming my accounts were legitimate and monitored. Murmurs spread. Another document appeared. Official clearance records showing no fraud, no investigation, no irregularities. My uncle shifted his weight. The third slide appeared. Printed logs of anonymous complaints filed against me. Dates, times, locations. The whispers grew louder. Then came the fourth slide, an trace report. The anonymous submissions had originated from a single office network. He paused. My uncle's confident posture stiffened. The fifth slide appeared, the office address. It belonged to the family business. A hush fell so deep it felt suffocating. My uncle's arms slowly unfolded. His jaw tightened. The final slide appeared. Login credentials used during the submissions. His assistant's account used during hours only one person occupied the office. My uncle. Gas broke through the silence. My aunt covered her mouth. My cousin stared at his father, as if seeing a stranger. Summernoon whispered, "Why would he do this?" I turned toward him. For the first time in my life, Uncle Raymond looked unsure. Not angry, not powerful. Uncertain, he opened his mouth, closed it, adjusted his tie, and looked around the room, searching for an ally who wasn't there. I returned to the microphone. "I never wanted to embarrass anyone," I said quietly. "Especially not family." The community elder slowly stood from his seat. His voice was calm but firm. "Respect is built on truth, not fear." No one argued. No one defended him. No one moved. The power he held for decades evaporated in the space of a few breaths. My uncle sank into his chair, smaller. Not the man people feared, just a man exposed. I turned back to the audience. "I worked hard to honor this family," I said, "not to compete with it." My father finally lifted his head. Our eyes met. And in that moment something years of silence had broken finally healed. I stepped away from the microphone. No applause followed, just silence. But it was no longer the silence of judgment. It was the silence of truth settling into place. When I returned to my seat, my father gripped my hand tightly. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. My mother leaned her head on my shoulder, still trembling, but breathing easier. Across the hall, my uncle stared at the floor. And for the first time in my life, he did not look powerful. He looked alone. In the weeks that followed, the story spread through the community. Some people apologized. Others avoided eye contact. A few admitted they had believed the rumors because they came from someone they trusted. The family business began to struggle, not because of scandal, but because fear had been mistaken for respect. My uncle never apologized, but he never spoke against me again. And sometimes silence is the closest thing to surrender pride will allow. I learned something through it all. Jealousy in a family doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it smiles. Sometimes it pretends to protect the family name while quietly poisoning it. For years I believed peace meant staying silent. I believed respect meant enduring injustice. I believed family meant never exposing the truth. Peace built on lies is fragile. Respect built on fear is temporary. And family built on silence cannot survive truth forever. If someone tries to destroy your name, shouting back may only feed the fire. But truth, revealed at the right moment, speaks louder than any accusation, because lies need repetition to survive. Truth needs only one moment, and when that moment comes, everything changes. So tell me, honestly, if you had been standing in that hall, with your name collapsing around you, would you have stayed silent, or revealed the truth when the world was finally listening?